Hey guys, I want to share a new brush preset that I've developed to create fog and atmosphere in your images. So this is a shot that I created using the brush preset, and here's a look at what it looked like before. So it's just adding some mood and atmosphere to the shot. Here's another image. That's the after. There's before, again, just giving it a bit of mood and atmosphere, and again, a country laneway and at sunset, and it just adds a little bit of atmosphere, softens the whole shot, makes it look less clinical. So let's dive in. I'll give you a little demonstration on how to use the brush. So I want to show you a really cool feature in Lightroom. It's in the develop module. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom under the transform, in the effects panel, under vignetting and grain, there's a little slider here in Lightroom CC called Haze, and it was originally invented to reduce haze in an image. So you can see on this shot here, it was a hazy evening when I took this shot, and you can't quite see the horizon line now. So if I use the dehaze slider, what it does is it's adding contrast, and it actually brings back detail, which is really handy if you're ever shooting landscapes and you don't want the haze, or it might be foggy and you didn't want that, or you want to bring more detail. The really cool thing about this slider is if you go the other way, it adds haze, so you can add a foggy look to your images. So if I keep going, I've now got a shot that's in pea soup, and if there was already haze in the shot, it kind of makes sense, and you can get something that looks kind of cool, I think, and you can add a little bit of warmth to that, and you've got something that looks kind of cool. Add a little bit of black, and let's have a look before, after. So if you just want to add a bit of mood to the shot, have a look at the dehaze adjustment tool. Another thing you can do is, if you just want to do local adjustments, you can create the same sort of effect with the brush tool, only in specific areas. So I've already got the haze in the existing shot, and if I want to add more haze, I can find that in the adjustment brush panel. I can just go to dehaze and have, with a really soft brush, I can just then add in fog to the area. I can increase my fog up here on the horizon and can make it really foggy. I can make it super foggy. I can add a bit of grain to that if I want, just by adding some noise. I can warm it up. And if I hit the Option or Alt on a PC, I can also just get rid of some of the areas, just brush them back. All right, and if you want, if you feel like you've gone a bit far, but you sort of like overall what's happening with the adjustment brush effect that you've created, you can just hover over the pin, and once that you've got that little hand over it, hold down the Option or Alt and click down on the mouse, and you'll see that you'll get those little arrows. So I can just now watch what happens to the sliders as I go to the left. Everything is reducing. So if you feel like you've overdone it, this is a really good way to reduce the adjustments of everything you've done all in one go, and going the other way increases it all at once. So it's a really handy little slider to have. So I can slide that back, and maybe I just want to be about there. Which is really cool. If you want something a bit quicker, I've actually created a whole set of custom brushes that you can download for free, that you can just use all the different presets. I've got Fog Morning Mist, Fog Pea Soup, and Fog Pea Soup Light. So let's just do a quick demo on how to use the brush presets. On the screen now, I've got an image. It's opened up in the library module. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the develop module. All right. And next thing I'm going to is click on my adjustment brush tool. So it's this little brush here, little brush. If I click on it or press the shortcut K, you're going to get a little drop down menu here. And if you go across there's the word effect. Next to that, there's a little drop down menu. And depending on which version of Lightroom you have, you're going to find that there's already some preloaded brush presets. And if you've been following my newsletter for a while, you may have some of the ones that I've already sent out in the past, some of the free brush presets that I've sent out, and some of the other ones in here are part of my Lightroom packs that I have on the website. So what I'm going to do is the ones that I've given you are Fog Morning Mist, Fog Pea Soup, and Fog Soup Light. And so basically, let's have a look at the first one, Fog Morning Mist. All right, so I select that, and I'm going to select a really soft brush. So I'm going to make sure that my feather is quite large. I'm going to adjust the size so that it's quite big. And I'm going to bring my density down and my flow down so that I can build up the adjustments that I do rather than doing them in one hit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I just want to brush a bit of atmosphere into this shot and make it look like it was more of a hazy kind of a sunset. And this kind of can add atmosphere to a shot that may look a bit clinical. You might have a shot that you've lit with flash and it's all looking a bit clinical, so you can just give it a little brush over with the fog brush, and you can see that as I'm doing it, it's just adding a little bit of atmosphere, maybe like a little bit of light pollution, and it's just giving it a softer look overall. So let's have a look at before and after. Just gives it a little bit of a golden light and a bit of a soft. And if you wanted to, you could go again. So I'll choose another brush and maybe make my brush a bit smaller. I could reduce the density and go over that as well, just near the horizon here, and add a little bit more fog and build on it. Because when you see fog in an image, it's in different spots. It's never sort of a solid unless you've got like a really thick pea soup. But in this instance, I'm using it to create more atmosphere rather than creating the look of fog. So there's before, there's after. All right, so you can have a little bit of fun with that and maybe try it on your portraits or your landscapes just to add another look. So I've got another image here. And this is like an old fishing pier and like a fisherman's hut. And again, it's sort of just after as the sun's setting, but it's kind of there's lots of cloud cover. So again, this is a perfect shot just to add a bit of mood. I just felt it looked a bit flat, so I can select. Maybe we'll try the pea soup brush. So that's going to be a heavier fog that I add. So again, I'm going to bring my density and flow down, keep my feather up very high because I want a soft brush rather than a hard edge. And I'm just going to brush in different areas. And you can see that the pea soup, that's why I named it pea soup, it's a much thicker fog. And so I'm going to be like, let me just turn my overlay on so you can see where I'm brushing the areas that are red, and I'm just trying not to brush everywhere, but it's sort of random to give the effect of a foggy look. So we'll turn it off. So there's before, there's after, and now I want to build on that. I might add a bit of morning mist down the bottom, and I'm going to vary my brush size and just put a bit of morning mist over there, add a little bit more, build it up over here in the corner like there's a big fog cloud coming in, and I'm just building it up. And if I want to add a bit more, I can just increase my density so I get a thicker sort of fog coming in. And I'm just sort of brushing, layering that on, choosing different areas, varying my brush size so we get a little bit more here around the bottom of the jetty or the pier. All right. Build it up. And then I might add a bit of pea soup light to the mix just to vary it all. And we'll get a new brush now, and we're going to layer on top of that with pea soup light. Make my brush a bit smaller, bring my flow and density, bring my feather down a bit. Add a bit more, and so you can see the fog starting to build up, and it's starting to look like a bit of a moodier shot. I'll bring my brush size right up, and bring some more into the corner there, maybe bring some over here just to balance it out, and I'm going to go over the whole top of this as well just to. And then a new brush, and I'm going to come back and add some more pea soup fog just around the jetty here. So I've got a new brush selected and just want to add some spots, some thicker fog just around the water there. Bringing up the mood, some in the corners. Let's go over this area here. We might cover some of the horizon. All right, and if I think I've gone a little bit too far, what you can do is with the brush layer that you've just added, put your cursor over the key and it'll highlight the areas that you've done. And if you hold down the Alt key at the same time, you see that little arrow that you get going left and right. As you hold down the Option key or Alt on a PC, I've got that whole selection selected, and if I go to the right, have a look what happens to the sliders. It's actually reducing the amount of the adjustment that I've added. So if I think that my fog's a little bit too strong, I can reduce it, and it's reducing all the sliders at once. So you're getting a nice clean adjustment there. And if I go the other way, I can make it even stronger. So I'm just going to lighten it off to the left a little bit so it's not as obvious. A little bit softer till I think it looks good. And there we are. So there's before and there's after. And the next thing I want to do to this, once I've added my fog, and you can do this before, it's probably better, is I want to just add a little bit more black, up my contrast just a little bit, open up my shadows a fraction, and just going to reduce the clarity slightly. And if I want to, I can either I think I like the exposure there. I can warm it up overall just to make it like a bit warmer. So warm fog. So it's like a warmer light. And then maybe just reduce the saturation and make all the tones a little bit more muted. And again, it's up to you how you want your shot to look until you're happy with it. And I think that's added a little bit of mood. I'm just going to come back now and tweak some of these sliders here. I probably think this is still a bit heavy, so holding down the Option or Alt key on a PC, and I'm just going to reduce that a little bit so it's not as strong. And then what I might do is, with that selection selected, I'm going to change my brush to a minus, which is an eraser. So basically I've got my selection, I'm then holding down the Option or Alt key, but I'm not hovering over the selection, I'm just near it, and then I can reduce the size of my brush. And what I'm going to do is bring my flow right down, and I'm just going to go around and erase a few areas. Let's bring the flow up a little bit so we've got little different parts peeking through now, and it's not as sort of this standard fog. We can still see some of the pier peeking through, maybe some of the texture in the rocks, some of the water. And I might bring back some of this here, and then I can do the same with some of the other selections. So what's this one that I've got selected here? So that's quite a bit, so I might just come in and do a few more on this layer. There we go. And so let's have a look at how that's looking. So before and after, and then maybe just, let's have a look. We'll get rid of some of these as well. So again, holding down the Option or Alt key, and might bring back some of the detail in this hut here. Nice soft brush so it's not obvious. I might bring back some of the detail of, there we go. So let's have a look. So we've got before, after, bit of fun there, add a bit of mood to your shot. And the final example that I want to show you is this shot here. So before I go ahead and retouch that using the fog brush, I'll just do a few adjustments. So first of all, I just want to make sure that my shot is straight, so I can use this angle tool and draw a line here on one of the verticals, so make sure that that's now straight. And I might just tweak that a little bit. And if I'm happy with that, I might actually just go down and fix that up a little bit more so I can use my vertical guide down here in the transform module, and that's better. Now that's looking a lot squarer. And the next thing I want to do is just make sure that I've got my color balance right. So what I can do is I can get my color picker and just go over to an area that was, and I know that this lady's apron here is a good white, is a good white point. So I'm just going to click on that, and that should give me the correct exposure for that image rather than having all this color cast on it. So I'm pretty happy with that. I might just warm it up a titch. All right, and I might just add a little bit of black and just open up my shadows a little bit. And so now I want to add a bit of fog to this shot. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if you've ever seen fog when it's like a foggy street at night, if you've ever photographed it and there's light there, you tend to get sort of a flary look around the lights. So instead of using the brush tool, I'm going to use my radial filter tool, okay, which is the next one along. And I've got my pea soup light effect selected, and I'm just going to do a little circle around that and make sure that the mask is correctly set there, and then I can actually just tweak the exposure a little bit, make it a touch brighter. So that's going to give you that sort of foggy look. So that's another way that you can use this brush preset if you just want to give a little bit of atmosphere to lighting. And I might do another one on the other side, on the other light here. So just drag it on, and again, just we're just sort of adding a bit of exposure there. And then I'm going to grab a new brush and I might go to morning mist, and I just want to add a bit of fog overall to this shot. All right. And you can see that the haze is sort of having an effect on the color. So sometimes this sort of shot might look a bit better as a black and white. So I might just convert it. And now we're going to get some a bit more mood happening. So I can build up a bit of fog. So it looks like a cold winter's foggy night. Bit of atmosphere in the air. All right, I'll just turn just so you can see there's the overlay. All right, just adding a bit. Nice big brush stroke. Turn that off. So we've got before, after. Turn off the overlay. All right, so you can see that it's just starting to add a bit of mood and atmosphere. I can maybe go to add a bit of pea soup, new brush, and maybe just add a little bit more in these corners here. So it's quite foggy over here. And then I can come back with an eraser and just bring back some of the detail. And if I think I've gone too far, hover over the pin and hold down the Option or Alt on a PC. You see those two arrows, and just holding down the mouse and slide across, and you can see the sliders moving as I do that. So I'm just reducing that, making it a little bit softer. All right, to about there. So let's have a look. We've got before, after, and there you go. So just added a bit of mood. I might now just come back and just up my blacks a little bit, just so make it a bit moodier as a shot overall. So I can drop my highlights down. Opening up the shadows, you can see that that starts to look a bit distorted, so it's probably good to just keep those to the left. Maybe add a bit of white that gives that sort of flary look of fog. And basically keep going till you've got a shot that you're happy with. So I'm pretty happy with that. So there you go, a few things you can do with the fog brush preset in Lightroom.